Have you ever seen a creature so strange that it almost seems like it should not exist on this earth? Some species have appearances so unusual that they are hard to believe, looking like aliens or like living remnants left behind from millions of years ago. But the incredible thing is that they really do still exist today. So right now, let us explore these strange animals together and see what makes them so special. Ranked at number 10 is the platypus. Coming in at number 10 is the platypus, one of the strangest mammals in the world. This species mainly lives in eastern Australia and on the island of Tasmania. It belongs to the monotremes, an ancient branch of mammals that split off very early in evolution. That is why the platypus carries many traits that seem almost impossible to find together in a single mammal. What makes the platypus so different is that its body looks like a mix of several animal groups. It has fur like a mammal, webbed feet, and a wide flat bill like a duck, but it lays eggs instead of giving birth to live young. After the eggs hatch, they still feed their babies with milk. However, they do not have nipples, and the milk is released through glands on the skin of the belly. On top of that, the platypus has one shared opening for digestion, waste removal, and reproduction, a feature that is very rare in modern mammals. And it does not stop there. Males also have venomous spurs on their hind legs, making the platypus one of the very few venomous mammals. Its bill also contains an extremely sensitive sensing system with thousands of receptors. Even more strangely, the platypus has almost no stomach because its esophagus connects almost directly to the small intestine. From its appearance and reproduction to its internal anatomy, the platypus is like a living legacy of evolution, strange, ancient, and so different that hardly any other mammal can compare. Number 9. The axolotl. Next is the axolotl, a salamander that is naturally native to Mexico. What makes the axolotl different is that its body keeps an almost juvenile appearance throughout its entire life. It has a soft body, lives underwater, has a finned tail, and has 3 pairs of external gills on both sides of its head, spreading out like tiny feathery branches. In many other amphibians, the body changes as it grows, so it can adapt to life on land. But the axolotl keeps its underwater form while still maturing and reproducing normally. This feature makes it one of the amphibians with the strangest body structures. The axolotl's most outstanding feature is its powerful ability to regenerate its body. It can regrow legs, its tail, part of its heart, its spinal cord, and even part of its brain tissue. The regenerated body part can recover quite completely with almost no obvious scarring. The axolotl also has a very large genome, many times larger than the human genome. Because of that, scientists are very interested in this species for research on tissue recovery and wound healing. Today, in the wild, axolotls mainly survive in the Xochimilco Canal system in Mexico, making them both a strange creature and a species that urgently needs protection. Number 8. The vampire squid. The vampire squid may have a pretty scary-sounding name, but this species is not a vampire in the sense of hunting and sucking blood. And it is not exactly a normal squid or octopus either, because it represents an ancient branch of animals in the group Vampiromorpha. The vampire squid usually lives in the deep ocean at around 1,970 feet to 3,940 feet, or about 600 meters to 1,200 meters, where there is almost no light and very little oxygen. That harsh environment has pushed its body to develop in a very unusual direction. The easiest thing to notice about the vampire squid is its soft, gelatin-like body, with large eyes, dark coloring, and a webbing that connects its arms, making it look as if it is wearing a cloak. Its body density is almost the same as seawater, helping it save energy in the deep ocean. In addition, this species has a very slow metabolism, but it has a respiratory system that is well adapted to low oxygen waters. Its blood also contains a respiratory pigment that helps it hold oxygen more effectively than many other squid or octopus species. Another special feature is that the vampire squid can produce bioluminescence. Its body has light-producing organs that create blue flashes in the darkness of the ocean. Even more interestingly, this species does not hunt aggressively, like many other squids. Instead, it mainly survives on organic debris falling from the upper layers of the water, often called marine snow. With its mysterious name and ancient creature appearance, the vampire squid has become one of the most unusual creatures in the ocean. Number 7. The pink fairy armadillo. Leaving the deep ocean behind, we come to the pink fairy armadillo. This is one of the smallest armadillos in the world, measuring about 4.3 to 5.9 inches long, or about 11 to 15 centimeters, with a tiny body, soft white fur, and a very unusual pale pink shell. Because of this special color, it looks more like a tiny creature from a fairy tale than a real animal in the wild. The strangest thing about the pink fairy armadillo is its shell. Unlike many armadillos with armor that fits tightly against the body, this species' pink shell is attached to the body along a single line down the back, while the sides are almost separated from the fur underneath. This structure both protects it and helps regulate body temperature in the dry, sandy environment of central Argentina. The back of its body also has a flat shield like a stopper, which protects the tail area and supports the body as it moves through soft sand. The pink fairy armadillo is also special because of its very secretive lifestyle. It spends most of its time underground, is adapted to sandy environments, and is extremely difficult to observe in the wild. This species also has a low metabolism, a small body, is sensitive to environmental changes, and has a very hard time surviving in captivity. So even though it looks tiny and cute, the pink fairy armadillo is one of the strangest, most fragile, and hardest to study mammals on Earth. Number 6. The eye. When talking about primates with the strangest appearances, it is almost impossible to leave out the eye. This is a primate found only on the island of Madagascar. It is mostly nocturnal, and it is also the only surviving member of the family Daubentoniidae. That special evolutionary position alone already makes the eye very different in the world of primates. The first thing that stands out about the eye is that it does not look like the monkeys we are used to seeing. It has large, round, amber-yellow eyes and big, thin ears that are highly sensitive to sound. Its fur is usually dark brown or black, mixed with long white hairs around the face and back. In particular, the eye's front teeth are sharp and keep growing throughout its life, a feature that makes it look more like a rodent than a typical primate. The most unique detail on the eye's body is found in its hands, especially its unusually long middle finger. This finger is thin and bony, has extremely flexible joints, and has a sharp claw at the tip. When combined with its large ears and special front teeth, this structure creates a very rare adaptation in the primate world, helping the eye play an ecological role in Madagascar's forests that is similar to a woodpecker. The eye also has a slow reproductive cycle. The gap between births can last from 2 to 3 years because the young need a long period of care. In addition, this species has a wide home range and a well-developed scent gland system, showing that its biology is uniquely adapted to Madagascar's forest environment. Number 5. The frilled shark. When people talk about sharks, almost everyone immediately thinks of the terrifying jaws of the great white shark from Hollywood movies. But nature has another shark that is far stranger, called the frilled shark. This creature is often considered a living fossil because it may have existed since the age of the dinosaurs and has changed very little in appearance. Since it lives in deep ocean areas that can reach thousands of feet or hundreds to thousands of meters where sunlight cannot reach, it is extremely rare for humans to encounter a living individual. Although it is called a shark, just by looking at it, almost no one would recognize it as a relative of sharks. Its body is long and curved, looking like a giant eel. The name frilled shark comes from the neck area, where its gill slits spread out in folds, forming a rough frill of skin around the head. The most interesting feature is its mouth and teeth, which are specially designed for surviving in darkness. Its mouth is positioned right at the front of the head, instead of being set underneath the body like in modern sharks. Inside that mouth are more than 300 small, needle-sharp teeth, all curved inward. This type of teeth works like a one-way thorn trap, keeping slippery prey like squid and small fish from having any chance to escape. Number 4. The star-nosed mole. The star-nosed mole is a typical resident of wetland and swampy areas in North America. Because it lives in complete darkness, deep underground, its eyes have degenerated, and its vision is almost zero. However, that disadvantage is made up for by a nose with one of the most unique structures in the natural world. Right in the center of its face are 22 pink, fleshy tentacles that spread outward symmetrically, forming the shape of a tiny star. This special nose has no fur, but it contains more than 25,000 tiny sensory receptors. This feature turns the nose into a biological radar system with sensitivity 6 times greater than the human hand, giving it the ability to locate and recognize its surroundings almost instantly. The sensitivity of its star-shaped nose also helps this tiny animal hold the world record as the fastest food-processing mammal on the planet, with the time needed to identify food measured in milliseconds. In addition, the body structure of the star-nosed mole allows it to have an extremely rare biological ability, detecting smells underwater through a mechanism that moves air bubbles in and out, a wonderful survival advantage in flooded swamp environments. Number 3. The blobfish. In third place is the blobfish. This fish lives in deep waters off Australia, Tasmania, and New Zealand, usually at depths of about 1,970 to 3,940 feet, or about 600 to 1,200 meters. The pressure there is extremely high, causing its body to evolve very differently from ordinary fish. The blobfish is best known for its gelatin-like body. It has very little firm muscle, a soft skeleton, and no swim bladder to control buoyancy. Instead, its body is made of soft tissue that is slightly less dense than seawater, helping it survive under intense pressure on the ocean floor. The saggy look people often see is actually caused by a change in pressure. Deep underwater, the pressure keeps its soft body stable. But when that pressure disappears, its gelatin-like tissue deforms, creating that droopy appearance. The blobfish is also known for laying large numbers of eggs on the seafloor, showing how well it is adapted to the harsh, high-pressure world of the deep ocean. Number 2. The bobbit worm. The bobbit worm is a giant bristle worm in the family Unicidae, found in warm waters of the Indian, Pacific, and Atlantic Oceans. Unlike the tiny worms we usually imagine, it can grow from about 3.3 feet to nearly 9.8 feet long, or about 1 to nearly 3 meters, while its body is only about 1 inch wide, which is around 2.5 centimeters. Its strangest feature is its head. It has 5 sensory antennae pointing forward and a pair of hard, sharp, serrated jaws shaped like pincers. This makes the bobbit worm look very different from the soft, harmless image people often associate with worms. Its segmented body can also regenerate some damaged parts. The bobbit worm reproduces through external fertilization. Eggs and sperm are released into the water, then develop into larvae before becoming adults. Its name once led to a false rumor that the female cuts off the male's reproductive organ after mating. In fact, this is not true, because bobbit worms do not have external reproductive organs. Number 1. The blue dragon sea slug. The champion spot on this list belongs to the blue dragon sea slug. This is a small sea slug, usually only about 1.2 inches long, or around 3 centimeters, found in many warm ocean regions around the world. Although it is very small, its body has a striking appearance with blue and silver coloring, along with side branches that spread outward, making it look like a tiny dragon from legend. The body structure of the blue dragon is very unusual. Inside, it has a gas-filled sac that helps it stay on the water's surface, while the colors on its 2 sides create a special form of camouflage. The blue side blends into the color of the ocean when seen from above, while the silver side blends into the reflected light when seen from below. This contrast in color helps this tiny sea slug adapt to the boundary between the water's surface and the air. The blue dragon's defense mechanism is even more remarkable. Its body can store stinging cells from venomous creatures, especially the Portuguese man-o'-war, then concentrate them in small sacs at the tips of its side branches, creating a special biological defense layer. In other words, the blue dragon does not need to have extremely powerful venom of its own, but it can use toxins from other creatures to protect itself. So, the existence of these strange creatures in this vast natural world shows that Earth still has many things that can leave humans amazed. Each species carries its own structure, its own way of adapting, and its own secret that nature has created through millions of years of evolution. Which one impressed you the most? Leave a comment below, and do not forget to subscribe to the channel so we can explore even more fascinating creatures together.